Hello, I'm back. So I've been told that I should talk more about things that I'm passionate about. Unfortunately, that does bring a little bit of grumpy down in the comments. Um, so I just want to first say, I'm sorry if I make you really upset. I don't mean to. I'm just doing my thing. If you're that upset, maybe click on a different video. Cause some of you don't seem to like my face, and that's fine. But that's the only one I got.
That's off-putting.
You should be off-putting.
6! What happened to 7?
Just kidding.
Chicks and ducks and geese better scurry.
It stinks!
So I'm back before I wanted to be, because I've now seen another thing that I have opinions about. I'm going to talk about the PB Squammer situation. I want to be very clear about this. I am in no way trying to address that specific situation as much as I'm trying to discuss the general idea. Okay, editing Sarah here. That's not what I meant. What I meant was that unless I say it's about that situation specifically, it's not. As an author. However, I have opinions as an author. I have opinions as a person. I have opinions. We all know this. That's why we're here. I'm not going to review other people's opinions. I'm not going to go to comments and all that. I do know that the videos by Lo-Fi Book Club and Laura Ray Says are more reviewing those things. It also is going to have the content in it. I'm not putting the video in here. He took it down, and honestly, I can't be arsed. Partly because I'm not trying to discuss him specifically. But if I don't acknowledge where this came from, that's kind of asinine. Okay, so to kind of start the story out, I'm going to explain where this came from, which is that this author, who I've discussed already, or I don't believe he's an author. I think he's a book talker. I'm not on TikTok, so I don't know a whole lot about book talk. But he put out a video, and in that video, he offered to listen to audiobooks. I believe he said small authors. He offered to listen to their audiobook only. He doesn't have the time to read. He's not gonna read with his eyeballs. Fine, this is ADHD, whatever. That's not my either here or there. And that you would pay him $200 to listen to it, and then he would make a review. You could listen to the review, watch the review, or whatever. It would be under 3 minutes, and if you paid him $800 more, he would post that on his pages to 40,000 people. His average views are 40K. So it could be more, could be less, could be, if you're a content creator, that's just the way it goes. Sometimes you get 7 views, sometimes you get 700 views. It's just them's the breaks. So I have a lot of thoughts about this. The one thing I need to address specifically about his statement was that he's like, I'm poor, so I need this money. As an indie author, what do you think we're doing? Do you think we're sitting on a pile of money over here? Do you think that indie authors spend all their time just, rolling in their money pits? We're not Scrooge McFucking-Duck.
I love to dive around in it like a porpoise.
So, as soon as you start thinking that indie authors have tons of spare money, you've strewn away from reality, and so the rest of your theory is going to get broken up. So, just be aware of that. Indie authors are typically pretty broke. Traditionally published authors are typically pretty broke. Unless you are a notable author known by everyone, and that if you say their name, everybody knows who that is, you're probably writing because you need to get paid, in part. Rich author thing is kind of a survivor bias thing. You see them because they're the rich ones. We're not all rich. In fact, we're mostly not. And by poor, I mean I need to keep working, not I can't afford to eat. I'm using my hyperboles. One of the things that tells you that somebody is trying to rip you off, and this is so important for an indie author to know, is when they act like they're doing you a favor, but other people would offer that for free. When someone tells you, I'll do this for you for $400. I'll get you a list of agents who would be interested in your work. It'll be $400. I'm doing you a favor. They're not doing you a favor. That information is free. That's what a paid... If somebody acts like they're doing you a favor and you know that that is not the favor that they're acting like they're doing, be wary. So the next thing that brought up is whether or not paid reviews are ethical. I would argue that paid reviews that are not noted very clearly to be paid are absolutely not ethical. I don't think that there is any reason that a paid review wouldn't be disclosed. An undisclosed paid review really is just you telling someone to give you a good review. That's exactly what is expected of you when you give an undisclosed paid review. Next is, who the fuck even is this? Like, when you have someone offering to give you a review that's paid, or you have someone offering to, talk about your book on a podcast or whatever, and they want you to pay for it, figure out how much they really are offering you. They might tell you that they're offering XYZ. Go check for yourself as well. Do a little investigating, figure out whether or not it's worth that, break it down to a per view. Are you paying 45 cents per viewer to be on a podcast? There's literally no reason you should be doing that. So just try to really look at the math and see if you're getting robbed. Because there are people out here who are trying to do things that feel in a desperate time of, I just want my book to get out there. They're going to feel reasonable, but you're going to end up looking like a fool or getting robbed or, losing your money or whatever. Next is, when we're talking about $1,000 investment for an indie author, there are so many places to spend that money. We're talking about covers and editors and proofreaders and layout, and there are many people willing to take your money, and you can pay for advertising. Those are all places where you can spend your money. And then on top of it, this particular review was talking about audiobooks, which is yet another expense which can be extreme. When considering what you're going to spend your money on, remember that you do have to pay for all these pieces, and don't let someone convince you that there's a piece that you need that you didn't think you needed. If somebody's trying to convince you that you need an index in your novel, they're selling you nothing. If you think you need an index in your novel, maybe you do, but there's these things that they just aren't reasonable, and I don't want people to pay for things that is just going to be a waste of their money. We're all feeling things getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Money is harder to come by, and time feels like it's moving faster, and getting things done is hard. Paying to get things done is harder. So I don't want people to lose their money, and I don't want them to lose the time. You give somebody $1,000 and they're going to put up a review, and then you find out that that review didn't get any traction, so that $1,000 was wasted and that time was wasted, and now you have absolutely ruined, some other momentum that you could have gotten elsewhere. So, none of us can afford those things for 100 reasons, not just the financial cost. So I think like the last thing I want to talk about is paid promotion and the difference between paid promotion and a paid review. Paid promotion is traditionally disclosed. That's part of the part of it that's, a promotion. So it is different to see an ad for something that's telling you it's advertising it, or somebody says, I received a copy of this for free in exchange for a honest review. Well, at least you know they got something for free, so you know that it's colored by the fact that they didn't actually spend their money on it. Those things make a difference, and I am all for content creators making money. I am all for content creators saying, I'll advertise your book on my channel. I even would understand a paid review that was indicated. As I've mentioned before, you have to tell people that it's paid. That's really the key to whether or not a paid review feels shit. But yeah, at the end of the day, transparency is what tells the difference between whether it's ethical or not, and whether or not we should be doing it. But just keep in mind, as an author, especially an indie author who doesn't have like a steady income from the book stuff, or even if you do have a steady income, we get it. We're all on the same page here, I think. Just don't waste your money on shit that is never going to pay off, or that is going to pay off less than you spent. Talk to other people. Ask people if something seems off to them, because sometimes it's hard to see from inside your own life when somebody has kind of got you by the emotions. And that's one of the things that people who are trying to rip you off will do, is they will try to get you emotionally attached to something rather than rationally attached to it, so that you are not thinking straight. So running things by other people, having, an attorney who can review contracts, those kinds of things are really important, because we really are in a place where it might be easy for us to get taken advantage of. A lot of us are engaging with people we only know through the internet, or we only know, like, we meet once or twice, and then the rest of our relationship is through the internet. That is very sketchy. It feels very unsafe. So the more protections we put in for ourselves, the less we have to worry about that, and the less we have to worry about someone, absconding with our money dollars, which we'd all probably like more of. So thank you for being here. Sorry if I offended anybody. Dana made me do it. Bye.
Of course, you worthless hunk of fur! Books are the real treasures of the world!
I don't wanna get my head squoze.